we are moving on from fantasy lover. Would not stop recommending it. 10 out of 10. Read it. Beautiful. So now, this book 0 in the Dark Hunter series, we're going to talk about book 0.5. Not many people know about this actually, which is Dragonswan. It's pretty short. And basically, don't be fooled. A lot of things happened here. Basically, this girl, what's her name? Shannon with a C. Because she's like, oh, Shannon with a C. I was in this like museum. Like she was just looking at this beautiful, beautiful tapestry, dragon tapestry. And then she was like, And this guy, he had tattoos on his face. He looked so scrumptious. She was like, ooh, mister. Like, you don't belong here. They started talking, He's like, oh, like, basically, he's like, oh, like, my name is Sebastian Catalakas. With that name, you're bound to be like very attractive. Sebastian Catalakas. Anyways, yeah, so they started chatting, like, hey, I'm a dragon slayer. She was like, She was just like trying to like talk with this guy, like the conversation was flowing, and because of that, like, she was about to like go, and then he was like, you know what, there's a restaurant like around the corner, will you go with me? She was like, I'm not a type of woman, but she was like, you know what, he's hot, might not have another chance. So off they went, right? They went to this restaurant, they ate and shit. Like everybody was like, the women was like, oh, he hottie. And then she was like, I see. I see that. Fast forward. So, they're like, they did it, right? The first day, guys, if you're ever gonna do that, like, of course, be cautious, like, be realistic, like, a lot of things are at play, like, just looking out for you. Anyways, in this book, Shannon was like, okay, yeah, this guy's hot, period. I'ma have my fair share, So they did it, whatever, and he was about to go, because he wanted to steal the tapestry, the one that she was looking at, and he was about to, and then like he was looking at her, like, before he left, like he was in the area because he wanted to steal the tapestry, and then he was in this hotel, he's like, oh, he just, what, he's like, okay, might as well do it, like, like, just go, and then he did before he left. This is such, and then he was like walking, and then there's this one lady that he saw, like, oh, do you have a car? And she's like, no. And then he's like, you have one now. And then he just tossed the key at her. I'm like, oh my god, generous person. I wish that happens to me. Anyways, that happened in the book. And then after that, like, he went back into the museum, and then he basically, like, they have powers and shit, and yeah, like, he stole a tapestry, and then before he got a tapestry, just trying to remember the story, he was like, oh, I have like the mark, like the mark, what's the word, like a mark when you were, I had to like open the book. It's called the mate mark. So he is mated, right? So he was like, oh my god, it was, of course it's gonna be Shannon, they just like made love, yada yada. And then he is a dragon. So he is a dragon slayer. Okay, did I tell you that? Anyway, so yeah. Oh my god, it's hot in here. Anyway, so yeah. He stole the tapestry, and then he was debating whether he should go back and see Shannon. But because they're mated, he's like, okay, you know what? There's other stars after me. If they found out, because they can have connections here, they can feel, right, that he's mated, they're gonna attack Shannon. So he was like, no, not on my watch, not on my watch. We need, oh. And so he basically like scooped her up, and then Shannon is also like a history professor type of profession, and then she teaches in a university, so she's like really like into like history, you know. Not me. Anyway, so that's what happened, right? And then when she woke up, she was like, oh, like in a different place, and they were transported into like, I forgot. So sorry, I am not well versed when it comes to like, but yeah, they actually, so Shannon was half asleep. She was like, oh, I'm gonna like, is it okay if you want to come home with me? And she was like, oh yeah, because she half asleep. She was like, oh yeah, sure. And then basically they were transported back to Saxon, England. Okay, it was like old, no electricity, no running water, no hot water. I would not survive. Okay, so she was very like, she's a historian, right? She's like, oh my god. When she woke up, she's like, oh my, what the hell's going on here? What the hell? And then like he changed his clothes. Like he did not look 21st century man, you know. He looked different. And then they went on a horse and shit. And then she was like, what the fuck is going on here? So she was very calm throughout all of it. I was like, if it was me, like if I see some people like looking not like normal, like our normal world, like looking different, it's different in a way that's like, I could tell like I'm not in the same time period, I would freak the fuck out. Like I was like, whoa, what the hell? But she was like, oh, you are indeed a dragon slayer, and we are in Saxon, England. I need whatever she has. Anyways, what's going on? She was like, oh, and then she was like, oh, what is this on my hair? Oh, it's just like we time traveled. Like that's just how it, you know, just that's how, like you get that because we time travel. It was the mating mark. So he was kind of like, basically had like 3 weeks to entice her, you know, make sure like to like woo her, you know, to a point that, oh yeah, she gonna accept the mark, right? And if she didn't, then he's gonna be celibate, right? Like, okay, she has a that's what I like about this book. Like the women have more power than men, but like we need that, you know. Like if I'm marked, like if that's real, like if I don't want to be with you, like oh my god, you're gonna be celibate forever, period. But this is going on here. And also, this is the kickstart of Were Hunters. I'm gonna be telling you about like the vocabularies that's being used because I just learned it as well. So Arcadians, okay, back in about like 10,000 years ago, 9,000 years ago. Well, very beginning, 11,000 years ago, there were two. I can't even start there. That's the start of Acheron. When human race was created by Zeus, Apollo was like, oh no, like I can make better than that. So he created Apollites. Apollites, they're like, oh, like close to 7 feet tall, blonde, you know, very powerful physically, and they have psychic powers. So they're like definitely better than us in a way. And because of that, you know, like they were banished to Zeus is like, okay, I'm gonna bash you. So all the Apollites were like moved from Greece to Atlantis. Atlantis is real. It's okay. Remember Atlantis. So Atlantis, and so they were like, you know, generations, whatever. And then about 11,000 years ago, like there were just a lot of tension with Atlantis and the Greeks, and then the Apollites was like, oh, they wanted to like start war basically, and they ended up killing the mistress of Apollo, right? Apollo, their creator, and then she was killed very brutally, and then she was only 27 years old, right? Remember, 27. And because of that, like Apollo was like so mad, so he basically like cursed all of his, like the Apollites, like, oh, you're gonna die at 27 because you killed her at 27 years old, and because of how brutally you killed my soon-to-be wife, my mistress, you're gonna have like animalistic things as well, so like fangs, you know, and you cannot be walking under the sun. You're forced to feed amongst each other, so they're like drinking each other's blood. Okay, poor, like literally, let's not talk about So that's what happened. So there's another Atlantean god or goddess. She basically took pity on the Apollites. So when they turn 27, they have the 24-hour period that they're gonna slowly die and decay, very painful, right? So there's two ways they can deal with it. They kill themselves before the 27, the day before they turn 27, or they become diamonds. Diamonds? Basically, this Apollite goddess taught them that, hey, if you kill a human and eat their soul, you can get more, like you can live more. So that's diamonds, right? Diamonds. So that's diamonds. And like 1,000 years after that, I think, and this one king, Lycon, he basically like had a child with this woman, and this woman is an Apollite. Okay, so remember Apollite. So Apollite, and then when she turned 27, she slowly like faded into dust for like the 24-hour period. So he was like, oh my god, my children's gonna have the same fate. So he was like being a good father, and basically he's like, oh, like with all the magics that they can incur, like he basically created from the two sons, he created 4 sons, right? He spliced their DNAs with like animals. There's like wolves and dragons, and there's a lot. Like, oh, in this book there's a bear, okay? There's a jaguar, or leopard. Too many, basically, because he was able to like mix and match and then have powers like magic wise. Like his son became 4, like I said. So the 2 sons became like the epitome of like Arcadians and Categorians. So Arcadians are their base form is humans, and they can turn into an animal. Of course, because of the like they were part Apollite, they have psychic abilities, right? So that's Arcadian human, they can turn into an animal. And then our Categorians, they're born animals, they can turn into humans, okay? Categorians, animals, humans. So that's that. Because like Apollo was like, no. So basically, like he basically cursed them like to be war against each other. So like Categorians versus Arcadians are fighting. And because of their psychic abilities, the diamonds wanna like kill them because they're tasty, and diamonds can absorb the powers that these Arcadians or Categorians have, right? Period. This is just so many things going on. Anyways, that's that. Back to the story. So they were in Saxon, England. So like there's no electricity because Mr. Katalakis here. If in 21st century there's electricity, hello, I have my light here. Electricity is a real thing. Hello. So for them to transform it, like the electricity would basically trigger that. So if he gets electrocuted, he can turn to a dragon. And dragons are fucking huge. If you see a dragon outside, you can see them, right? So he was like, okay, he can time jump, okay. I'm going off the script here, but basically, so that's what happened, his enemies found out about the mates, and then she was like, what the fuck is going on here? And then there's a dragon, and then like they had to fight a dragon. He's a dragon slayer, but like he lives in this village. He cannot turn into a dragon to fight other dragons, right? And basically, I have 15% on my phone, but they ended up like killing him, like killing the bad dragon. I forgot his name, but yeah, like he also has a brother. There's a lot of things. Antelope, like the tapestry was created by his sister. Like a lot of things. There's a lot of things, guys. A lot of things going on. This is a short book with a lot of things going on. But like basically, at the end, Miss Chen was like, oh, like this is not just from the time travel. This is my mate Mark, isn't it? He was like, yeah. And then the reason why I didn't tell you, because I wanted you to like basically just like have like I don't want you to be pressured to be my mate, you know, like you have a choice, you know, I don't want to give you I want to. So Mr. Katalakis, and he just basically told her like, oh, if you become a mate, like our lifespan would be like mixed, you know, like they're gonna be together, like we're hunters, live for like a long time, longer than Apollites and longer than humans, those who have psychic powers, period. And that's what happened, right? And then yeah, like they basically like she's like, okay, what's the downfall? There's no downfall here, you're gonna be like with me forever and I'm gonna live a long time and then we can time travel. She was like, oh yeah. let's go. And then they make officially are mated, and that's the start. Over hunters, when Howard, like, yeah, the cousins basically from the Apollites, and then they don't like each other because they're cursed. Apollo is just a hater. But yeah, 10 out of 10. There's a lot of things happen here. It's pretty spicy. Like 10 pages in, there's a spice. Okay, amazing. Dragonswan, period. But yeah, anyways, read it. Dragons.